Hello friends, welcome once more to my channel. Thank you for stopping by again to watch my video today. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, like, and share this video with anybody that you think will benefit from this content. So in this video, I will be teaching you everything you need to know about constipation. So let's dive into it. And so the things I'll be talking about are what constipation is, causes of constipation, risk factors for developing constipation, symptoms of constipation, ways to prevent constipation, and also ways to manage constipation if you already have it. So, what is constipation? In general, if a person has less than 3 stools or bowel movements in a week, or they have difficulty passing stools, and that lasts for a couple of days or a couple of months, usually more than 3 months, then the person is said to be constipated. And if the constipation lasts for more than 3 months, that person is said to have chronic constipation. And before I move ahead, I just want to let you know that I'll be using the words stool and bowel movements interchangeably because they mean the same thing. So what are the causes of constipation? There are several things that can make someone to be constipated. The first one is that it could be as a result of a blockage or a narrowing in the rectum or colon. And examples of such things would be anal fissure, bowel obstruction, colon cancer, rectal cancer, and other conditions of the rectum and colon. You may ask, like, what is an anal fissure? An anal fissure is a tear. It could be a tiny tear or it could be a large tear in the rectum, and that's usually caused by passing hard and strong stool. Secondly, problems with the nerves and muscles around the colon or rectum will cause somebody to have constipation. Example of such problems include stroke, brain and spinal cord problems, multiple sclerosis, and Parkinson's disease. These are just a few problems that I've listed here. There are many more. So in general, the nerves and the muscles around the colon and rectum help to propel the stool from the colon into the rectum where it can be easily emptied out. But if such nerves and muscles have problems due to one reason or the other, that would definitely affect how frequently someone's bowels move and get emptied. Thirdly, conditions that affect digestion and hormonal imbalance. And examples of such conditions are hypothyroidism, pregnancy, and diabetes. There are many more. I'm just listing a few here. So in this section of the video, we are going to discuss about the risk factors for developing constipation. So what makes somebody develop constipation? There are several reasons that can cause somebody to have constipation. The first one is dehydration and not drinking enough fluids. The body needs fluids. Body needs so much fluids. I know it's recommended that we drink at least 8 glasses of water per day, but not many people do that, including myself. But the body needs that fluid because the fluid is needed in the colon in order to push down the stool into the rectum where it can easily be emptied out. Secondly, eating foods that are low in fiber. Inactivity. If we don't exercise, we don't move our bodies, then we eat and we just sit in the same position and watch TV all day. Everything in the body is going to be slow and we're not going to empty our bowels the way we want it to happen. And another risk factor is being an older person. In an older person, the metabolism slows down. Older people are less active And even the muscles along the gastrointestinal tract, they also slow down and they weaken. So that affects how frequently an older person can empty their bowels. In addition, taking some medications will also increase a person's risk for developing constipations. Such medications include opioids, which are pain medications, antidepressants, iron tablets, some psychiatric medications, and sedatives. You hear sedatives, it says it all means it makes your body to slow. And like I said earlier, if things are slow in your body, it will also affect how frequently your bowels will move. Some people who have an eating disorder uh, uh, have a higher risk of developing constipation because sometimes they'll have this alternating uh, period of constipation and diarrhea. Now let's talk about the symptoms of constipation. So how does somebody know that they have constipation? First, if you pass fewer than 3 stools in a week, then you're having hard, lumpy, and painful stools. Then if you're straining to have bowel movements, and sometimes you feel as though there's a blockage in your rectum, even though you have gone to the bathroom and you have passed some stool, but you still have that gut feeling like, oh, there's something stuck in there. I need to get this thing out. In addition, if you get to the point where you're needing help with having a bowel movement, for example, you have to press on your stomach in order to have a bowel movement, and then you start getting the stool out of your rectum using one means or the other. You're having a feeling of being bloated, you're having nausea, stomach cramps, and stomach pains, then you're definitely experiencing constipation. Now I am going to talk about the complications of constipation. So what happens if you have constipation and you don't take care of it? The result is that you are going to develop some complications. And the first complication is hemorrhoids. And what are hemorrhoids? Hemorrhoids are swellings in the veins around the anus. And this is usually caused by prolonged straining. You know, so for somebody who has had constipation for a long time, they because they've been straining a lot, that causes the veins around the anus to swell. And people with hemorrhoids tend to have a fear of having bowel movements because they don't want to endure that pain that comes with it. So this puts them at even a higher risk of developing complications related to constipation. The second complication is rectal prolapse, and this is also caused by straining. So people who have been straining for a long time due to constipation, this will cause the muscles around the rectum to stretch out, and when they stretch out, sometimes they will protrude into the anus. That's what is called rectal prolapse. The third complication is an anal fissure. Like I said earlier, this is also a tear in a small tear. It could be a small tear or it could be a large tear that is caused by passing hard stools. And you know, this can really make somebody to be afraid to pass through because they don't want to endure that pain as well. So people like that tend to shy away from having bowel movements, and that just makes their problem worse. Fecal impaction is another complication of constipation. In this case, what happens is that the stool accumulates and becomes hardened and gets stuck in the intestine over time. And the other complication is an infection called diverticulitis. And how does this happen? So when this stool has been sitting in the colon for a long period of time, some of it gets trapped in the outer wall of the colon, and over time, this part of the colon becomes infected, and it will need to be treated using antibiotics. And diverticulitis can be very painful. It occurs a lot in older people. The other complication of constipation is bowel incontinence. And again, as that stool is sitting in the colon, sometimes people will experience liquid stool that sips around that fecal impaction, and they will see how that stool will come out of them. So we have already discussed about what constipation is, the causes of constipation, the risk factors for developing constipation, and the symptoms of constipation. So in this section, we are going to talk about the ways to prevent constipation, and if you already have the constipation, how you can manage it. So let's dive into this last section of the video. A lot of times they will say, oh, eat vegetables, eat fruits, drink water, and that is true. So the first way to prevent constipation is to increase your fluid intake. Water is very important for the body. Water, water, water. I cannot overemphasize that. It is usually recommended that an individual drinks at least 8 glasses of water per day. But I know most people don't do that, including myself. And some people like to drink fruit juices. But what I can say about fruit juices is that it does contain sugar. You may think that, oh, it's natural sugar, but sugar is sugar. So if you're diabetic, you have to be careful about how much of the fruit juice you drink. And even the fruits, they're natural, it's natural sugar, but it will also cause your blood sugar to spike. So be careful of how much and what type of fruits you eat if you're diabetic. You can also increase high fiber foods such as beans, vegetables, nuts, dried fruits, and whole grain cereals. Reducing the amount and quantity of processed foods like fast foods, dairy products, and meat products will also help to prevent and manage constipation. The problem with these foods is that they contain a lot of fat and cholesterol, so it takes a long time for them to be digested when we consume them. So reducing the amount, will help to prevent constipation. The other way is to stay active. It is recommended that we walk at least for 30 minutes a day. That will help to make our body to move, because the more we move, the more our colon, things in the colon will also move, the muscles there will move, the nerves will move, and it will help to propel the stool down from the colon into the rectum, where it can easily be uh, avoiding stress or managing stress well helps to prevent constipation, because when the body is stressed, everything is slow, and that will delay motor function, thereby decreasing stomach emptying time. And stress can also cause things like stomach ache, indigestion, heartburn, and nausea. The other important factor to prevent constipation is not to ignore the natural urge that comes to pass stool. A lot of times we will be engaged in one or two activities and we have that natural urge to go, but we prevent ourselves from going because, oh, we want to finish this activity before we can go. But that's not right, because when we do that, what happens? That stool sits in there and it doesn't go anywhere. And that urge may not come again for the rest of the day. But you are eating and adding more food into your body. The more food you eat, the more, and if that food is not digested and you don't go to pass it out, it will just sit there in the colon. And what happens over time, you will develop complications that are related to constipation. So it's always a good idea to go as soon as you have that natural urge to go. Another important way to prevent and manage constipation is to create a regular schedule for bowel movement, especially after a meal or early in the morning. For most people, it's early in the morning. Sometimes they just have to drink a glass of water in the morning, or they eat a banana, or they eat their favorite fruit, and they will go immediately. So creating that schedule is very, very important. For example, even my kids, when they wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is to send them to the bathroom. So they have their bowel movements in the morning, so that when they go out to school or when they're out there, they don't have to worry about having a bowel movement and their colon is already clean out for the day. And when children start eating solid foods, it's always important to include plenty of fiber like fruits and vegetables in their diet, because kids can also get constipated easily. So if you have tried the different ways of preventing or managing constipation and they don't work, I recommend that you talk to your doctor about it. Thank you for watching the video. Please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, and then share with your friends and family that you think may benefit from the content in this video. Thank you so much. See you in the next video. Bye bye.